Hey, welcome to the DA Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andrew Purcell. Doug, let me ask you something. Would you ever eat a churro dog at the Arizona Diamondbacks game or what?
Uh, Listen, I'll try anything.
That's
Try
fair.
anything once.
That's fair. Today, we're going over the Adam Johnson death. We're going over the Cowboys and Chargers, folks. We're going over the Niners losing for a third straight game, where the Broncos slaughtered the Chiefs. And we're going to talk about the World Series and today's trade deadline, what happened with that. But first, let's start out with the Adam Johnson. Doug,
Right.
Adam Johnson, former NHL player, played for the Pittsburgh Penguins, died a couple of days ago, actually on Saturday, I believe it was, in Sheffield, England, with a shot to the neck from a skate after a little skirmish or a
Yeah,
collision.
so let me get
So,
into this.
yeah,
So Adam Johnson, who last played in the NHL a couple of years ago with Pittsburgh, he was unfortunately playing in England, where something happened entering the attacking zone, where a player by the name of Pelgrave, that's all I know, um, was maybe pushed or checked or tripped
yeah, it's a
and
collision.
appeared to throw his leg up,
Mm-hmm.
and it caught Johnson in the throat, cut his carotid artery, and if you've seen the video, it's really graphic.
Yeah,
Um,
he got off the
but
skate, tried to skate to his bench from what I saw.
uh,
Heard.
Unfortunately, so this video was sent to me
Yeah,
Saturday night through a friend of mine,
yeah,
and when I watched it the first time, the second I saw how much blood was on the ice,
yeah,
I I knew he probably wasn't going to make it, and he
yeah,
died in the hospital later that night.
yeah.
Um, it
Definitely a
is
yeah. Go ahead.
it is crazy to me
Mm-hmm.
that in 2023,
Yeah,
for how fast the game of hockey is played,
yeah.
that neck guards are not mandatory.
It is actually quite shocking. Like I think Haley Wickenheiser mentioned it today in an interview with the Toronto Sun or Toronto Star Day that why has the NHL enforced neck guards with this incident? I know there was an incident. I think it was a couple. Was it last year or maybe the year before that? I think it Willie Nylander of the Leafs who got cut with on his arm by a skate.
I
Was it
think
last year?
it was either Marner or Nylander,
Yeah,
which thankfully that wasn't a that wasn't a uh, career altering and life altering injury.
yeah. It could have been.
Um, so obviously, when it comes to skate injuries, there's three that immediately come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's Clint Malarchuk, who
Mm-hmm.
played goaltender for the Buffalo Sabres back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very infamous video where uh, two guys get tied up heading towards the net. A skate comes up and gets Malarchuk right in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is a 2007 game between, I believe, Florida and Ottawa,
Yeah,
where Richard Zednik, who ended up playing for both teams,
yeah,
I believe he was on Florida at the time,
yeah.
again, got tied up. A skate came up, got him in the neck. And the third one is a game back in 2000 between the Leafs and Sens, where Marian Hossa got upended behind the net,
Mm-hmm.
and a skate came up and actually cut the eye of Brian Berard.
Ooh,
Um,
that he's lucky he didn't lose his vision for that.
he did for a while,
Yeah,
and eventually
like,
got it back. He did
yeah.
make a comeback a couple of years later,
Mm-hmm.
but he was not the same. And he was a former first overall pick.
Yeah,
Berard went first overall in '95
yeah.
to the Islanders. Um, and so this Adam Johnson thing, I mean, obviously my heart goes out to any teammates, his family, anybody. I saw actually last night that the Ontario Reign of the AHL named him an honorary first star, because that was the last North American team that he played for.
Yeah.
was the Ontario Reign, and they made him the first star, where I believe 4 former teammates who I guess were there when he was there brought his jersey out to kind of say goodbye type deal.
Yeah, you got to feel a little bit for the player that caused it by accident. I mean, it was purely accidental.
So I've seen a couple of takes on this.
Yeah.
Now, take what you will about the first person, which is Daniel Carcillo. So depends on how you look at it. It looks like in the video, like he intentionally throws his leg up.
Okay.
And I think he meant to get him, just not that high. Now, if that's the case, this could go criminal.
It could. I don't see it being real massive intent for that though.
There's a small discourse online on social media that this is a homicide.
It can be construed as that. I know, like when Martin McSorley took his stick to Bashir, there was definitely charges laid, wasn't there?
Yeah, and actually, it's funny because I guess I'll share a quick personal story. I took law in grade 12.
Yeah.
My second attempt at grade 12.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to write one of our midterm exams was we had to examine this case between McSorley and Bashir.
Yeah.
And to me, the precedent was set back in the 30s.
Yeah.
With, I believe, there was a Chicago Blackhawks player who hit Leafs player Ace Bailey from behind, went into the boards, and it killed Bailey.
Yeah.
One of the very few deaths in the history of the NHL during a game.
Yeah.
And, it is hard to prove. Well, also you could look at the Todd Bertuzzi, Scott Moore incident from 2004.
That's a little bit more. That was a lot more intent involved in that one. I mean, that was already proven that was intended. Now, what happened with Moore was probably wasn't intended. The meant for it to happen was intended, but not what the result was.
The punch in the back of the head, obviously. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, there was a game between Vancouver and Colorado back in 2004.
Yeah.
And this young rookie, Steve Moore, kept running at Marcus Naslund.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Canucks coach at the time, Mark Crawford, relied on his bruiser, which was Todd Bertuzzi. And he said, go get him.
Yeah, that kind of changed the way the NHL kind of is to this day now. You don't see a lot of enforcers anymore because of that. That's kind of the start of where the NHL really started to change.
It's funny because it happened late in the season, and that was one of the last big things to happen before the lockout.
Yeah.
I mean, it was basically that happened in March. Tampa won the Stanley Cup in June, and then they were locked out for a year.
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing what can happen. I'm pretty sure there's going to be probably changes to the NHL about this at all, or at least it will get to the committee for sure.
The last thing I'll say about it is, if they're requiring kids to wear it in junior,
there's no reason why adults can't wear it.
The only discourse I've seen about why pro players don't wear it is because it's a little uncomfortable. Okay, have you ever put on football pads?
Yeah, it's definitely some of it's uncomfortable as hell.
They're fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, you wear them because it's protection, and it's protection against you, against the other guy too. Because nobody wants a barreling 250 or 300-pound person coming at you at a rate of speed of that is not going to be stoppable, especially if you're a small person. It's just not going to happen.
So I played receiver, and my shoulder pads would rub against the side of my neck all the time.
Yeah, it's irritating.
It annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's annoying. But moving on with football, because since we started talking about football, let's move on to football.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys, San Diego, LA Chargers, both decimated the teams they played against this weekend.
I'm not taking too much credence into the Chargers beating up on the Bears. It was the best they've looked all season.
Is this win more on those two teams, or is it the loss that looks worse on the Rams and the Bears?
No, like the Bears are fucking dog shit. So it doesn't surprise me that going into SoFi, even with half an offense, because everybody seems to be hurt again.
Yeah.
And they're still reeling from losing Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Derwin James had a pick last night.
Yeah.
And I don't take too much stock into this because it's a team you should beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we've been talking about this all season. Like, on paper, this Chargers team should not be below 500.
No, but that's kind of what their record is right now.
Right.
Right. Look at the Cowboys. Cowboys are the exact same thing right now. They should not be where they are. They should they should be really tied with Philly right now. And that's going to be a big game this Sunday. And with the Chargers, we're going to find out, too, how much of that win that was. Because they're playing the Jets this week coming up on Monday Night Football.
Speaking of the Jets, okay.
Yeah.
Did you see the footage on Sunday of Aaron Rodgers is fucking throwing already?
Yeah, there is talk that guy might be coming back.
Anyways,
honestly, the Jets haven't looked that bad.
Chargers are 3-4.
Yeah.
And like I said, okay, they're the masters of losing one-score games.
Oh, okay. You gotta try to think positive.
Oh, they're not making the playoffs, and they might squeak into the wild card only to get absolutely decimated by whoever wins whoever wins the lowest.
Well, speaking of positivity, Broncos, for the first time in 16 tries, and finally beat the Chiefs. And they did it in big-time fashion with a 24-9 slaughter of the Chiefs.
So Russell Wilson's sneakily having a good comeback season.
Yeah, I'm just wondering though if Taylor Swift wasn't in the crowd because she must not have been there.
No, because she's getting ready to resume her tour in the first week in November.
Oh well, Travis Kelce would be interesting. He might lose targets.
Listen, okay. You know what? Good for Travis, man. He looks happy.
Yeah.
Listen, I think we all strive for the kind of happiness that dude is showing right now.
Yeah, if he's happy, he's happy. I just don't need to see Taylor Swift on TV every single time I watch a game.
No, but it's her mainstream appeal that the NFL is trying to capitalize on.
That is what they're doing too. It's a little irritating, but you know what though, it is what that is. Niners though, lost again, 3 in a row. Ever since they beat my Cowboys and slaughtered them on Monday Night Football, they have lost 3 straight. Mind you, Debo hasn't played.
Yeah, but you know what? I think they were taking a huge gamble, and we learned this last year with Tua.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that, starting Purdy, I think you should have just sat him, win or lose. Okay.
Is that because of the concussion protocol he went to last week?
Yeah. 6 days after a concussion and the guy's playing. Guess what? It happened to Tua last year, and it ended up with him getting hit not so hard, but hits the back of his head and he postures.
Yeah.
Which is one of the scary. I joke about Tua being one hit away from being a vegetable.
Yeah, but you don't want to see it though.
Of course not.
No.
Of course not.
It'd be a black mark on the NFL.
Of course. And it was already a PR nightmare when the second one happened.
Yeah, there's gonna be better.
Could you imagine? Okay, so could you imagine the risk they're taking with Purdy, right?
Of course they are. It shows they don't trust Sam Darnold.
Imagine if the same thing that happened to Tua last year happened to Purdy yesterday.
Actually, probably be more of a firestorm then. be honest with you.
right? Because this would be 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Right? Where
Yeah.
where a guy was not 100%, you cleared him anyway.
Yeah.
He's not like, no matter if he passes concussion protocol, okay? I've dealt with more than a dozen concussions in my life, okay?
Yeah.
All varying degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one I had was about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, somewhere around there. And it took a good 3 weeks before I was even okay. Like back to feeling like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a pro athlete. Okay? But guess what? It doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete or you're a fucking 50-year-old overweight dude. Okay? Listen, our brains all respond to the trauma the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the NFL needs to fucking wake up, because they already had a class action lawsuit about CTE.
Yeah.
And concussions.
Well,
okay.
It's also the NFL, right? The most powerful organization in history on the planet Earth, unless that's not named FIFA. So, anyway, tragic news though too in the NFL as well. Though Kirk Cousins in a contract year, out for the rest of the year with a torn Achilles.
Blew his Achilles, same way as Aaron Rodgers.
His Achilles must have blown up completely compared to Aaron Rodgers, because if Aaron Rodgers has already had the surgery and is walking on it, I mean, he's got to go to a shaman or something.
But Aaron Rodgers is all about that alternative medicine bullshit.
Yeah, well, he might be something to it if he's coming back. If he might come back,
that's true. I mean,
who touches Cousins now?
Well, again, where hasn't Kirk Cousins gone?
I said this today.
What's up?
I think I said to our friend, one of our mutual friend of ours. I said, maybe, just maybe, Kirk Cousins makes his way back to the NFC East and goes plays for the Giants. So I think the Daniel Jones experiment is done.
Give him all that money in the offseason and then give up on him? Gee, what's that sound like?
It's a possibility. I mean, you never know. It is the New York Giants. But switching gears here to the World Series. The World Series.
Hold on. So, I let's save the World Series to the end, because trade deadline was today, so it may as well just stay on topic, right?
Okay. Well, if you want to, I figure go back to it later. If you want to stay on trade topic, stay on the trade topic.
So the biggest trade I saw today was Leonard Williams being traded from said New York Giants to the Seahawks for a second and a fifth. You were saying?
Second in the next year's draft, this year's coming draft, and then fifth round pick in the 2025 draft.
So, off the top, you would think oh shit, you're giving up an A defensive player, an A-level defensive player in Leonard Williams for 2 picks. I mean, that sounds like a fucking fleecing. But, second round could turn into something.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to wait a couple of years to evaluate this deal.
Yeah.
And we'll see what kind of an impact that Leonard Williams brings to that Seahawks defense.
That Seahawks defense right now is that Seahawks team right now in general is looking really good.
They're firing on all cylinders, and honestly, that offense being led by Geno Smith is not something I had on my bingo card this year.
Well, Geno Smith is having a career resurgence. I think when come back as a player later last year, and then this year he's almost like he just picked up where he left off. I mean, that team is still looking really good, especially defensively. But
great for him, because I remember Geno Smith coming up as a Jet.
Well, he was a laughing stock for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
He was supposed to replace Mark Sanchez, and he did a piss poor job of that. They went to the other New York team. He didn't do that great there.
Listen, I don't even know how anybody could play for Rex Ryan.
Yeah, it's also the New York Jets though too. The Jets have been they're still looking for Joe Namath, second coming. It's just not happening. They tried.
I don't remember the last time the Jets were an actual good team.
Well,
I mean, maybe when they had Brandon Marshall and Mark Sanchez, I mean, they made a couple of playoffs, but They
There
were
was also
bounced.
Darrell Revis.
They were bounced out in the first round, and yeah, you had Revis, but
Like that was different.
any
That
other big
was
deals going down, bud?
not that I've seen. Nothing.
No.
The only big news was Lowe's and Leonard Williams, and it wasn't that big of a news to begin with anyway. I mean, you can just tell the Giants are probably just giving up already as it is.
Fire sale in New Jersey.
Well, there's nothing really much else you can take. I mean, unless they're going to plan on trading Saquon, that's probably not going to happen. With the deadline just coming the next couple, already come and gone, so that's not happening.
Right.
He's playing that franchise tag again, and they're probably going to release. He's probably going to go away in the offseason and go somewhere else, like Kansas City or something.
I honestly wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind because I know Eckler's a free agent too, coming up.
Mm.
I wouldn't mind Saquon playing in LA.
He may. I mean, where's he from originally? No, he went to Penn State.
I
don't think he's a Pittsburgh boy though. But he might go. I mean, you know what? He might go back to Pittsburgh.
Honestly, the off chance there's any NFL player listening to this, just get the bag, bro, because these owners are showing that you guys are more expendable than anybody. All right.
Especially what Jim Irsay said, right? Actually, speaking of Jim Irsay, really quickly,
yeah,
wants reviews to be reviews every time there's a massive flag in the last 2 minutes because he felt last Sunday he got screwed in that game. And he's got a valid point. There was pass interference on that play that probably should have cost him the game. But I mean, Jim Irsay is like the majority. He's the longest serving owner of the NFL right now, over Jerry Jones.
He's the Colts owner, right?
Yes, he is the owner of the Colts. I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? But there's probably a lot of changes in the offseason anyway with the NFL, especially when it comes to rule changes. There always is, especially catches and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, if he gets his wish or not. But anyway, going back to the switching the gears now to the World Series.
Right. Okay.
Now, this World Series, Rangers and Diamondbacks. I'm not going to lie to you. I've actually kind of enjoyed it so far. The first two games were really exciting, especially if you're a Diamondbacks fan in Game 2, and especially if you're a Rangers fan in Game 1.
Nothing. I will defend this to the day that I die. There is nothing more exciting in sports than playoff baseball. Because everybody is hanging on every pitch. And you know what? You saw the best example of that in the 9th inning of Game 1. Home team down by 2. Here comes big free agent acquisition, Corey Seager, hitting a fucking nuke to tie the game. And then Adolis Garcia, I'll get to him in a minute. I'll get to him in a minute because there's some news that came out about him tonight in tonight's game.
Yeah, we'll get to that too.
Right. He has made an argument. I said this. I think I've been saying this. Like, he's made an argument of being a top player in baseball. I don't know what top part you want to put him in, but like, this dude is having the postseason of his life.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really is.
And he had another signature moment in these playoffs, hitting the walk-off in Game 1. Now, credit to Arizona because they bounced back the next night and just wiped the floor with Texas, beating them 9-1.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But tonight
was a different story. Tonight, Texas shut them out 3-0 at Chase Field.
Sorry, that went final?
That went final, 3-0.
Okay.
But the big news out of that really isn't actually the Rangers win, though. It's Adolis Garcia, which you just was praising, left with an injury. I was seen grimacing as he left the game. Now, I don't know what the injury he has side tightness.
Yeah, left side tightness, which could be anything.
Yeah.
Right. And they also had to pull Scherzer because he was hurt.
Well, Scherzer's a different story. Like, he came back way too early, in my opinion.
Listen, Max Scherzer, I admire the fact he still wants to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
If Texas pulls this off, it would not surprise me if he retires.
Oh, yeah.
He's over 40.
Yeah.
And
He's already Hall of Fame bound.
100%.
Yeah. There's no way he's not.
He will be first ballot.
If he retires this year after this season, and say Verlander decides to retire this year too, that's your Hall of Fame.
They're both going first ballot.
Yeah, that's your Hall of Fame induction in 5 years. Like there's no way.
Scherzer will be going in as a Nat.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Verlander goes in as an Astro.
Well, he could go as a Tiger though too. But then he won what? He won a Cy Young with the Tigers.
Both of them could go in as Tigers. They both won a Cy Young there. Yeah. Verlander won his MVP there.
Yeah.
But I think like the most likely scenario, because I think Scherzer won like 2 or 3 Cy Youngs in Washington, won a World Series in Washington.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he's going in as a national. Scherzer, on the other hand, or Verlander, on the other hand, sorry.
Well,
he won 2 championships in Houston.
Yeah, and he also pitched a no-hitter though with Detroit, and he pitched a no-hitter in Houston as well. So,
right,
like he is,
but he's also had the best seasons of his life outside of 2012 or 2011.
Yeah,
where he won the MVP.
Yeah,
like this. There's a YouTuber a baseball YouTuber I like to watch, Draftneck Mark. Okay, and his favorite saying when it comes to Justin Verlander is, like a fine wine, he only gets better with age.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Verlander has left in the tank. He's like 41, 42.
Well, I mean, my favorite pitcher of all time, as you know, is Nolan Ryan.
Right.
Now, Verlander does not have probably the same velocity as Ryan did at his age, but he pitched into well into his 40s too. And
Verlander's still throwing triple digits.
Yeah. Oh, it's
even post Tommy John. He had Tommy John surgery at 39.
Yeah,
and he was still able to come back and be effective.
Yeah,
which is something I remember talking to you about it when it happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you should probably just hang it up.
Yeah,
but
Verlander's like this generation's Nolan Ryan, man. Just keeps on going.
I mean, that's probably the best equivalent. He doesn't strike guys out at a rate that Nolan Ryan did.
No, that Ryan strikeout record will never be touched. Stay with the 7 no-hitters will never be touched. But I mean, as far as longevity goes, that longevity is there. He kept himself really good, right?
Nolan Ryan played 23 seasons?
Several different teams, just like Verlander too. Verlander.
I wouldn't say Verlander's been on several. He's only been on 3.
Well, it's more. Well, still considered several, right?
So
it's more than 1 and more than 2.
He went from 2006 to 2016 with Detroit.
Yeah.
2017 till last season with Houston.
Ryan did 4 teams. So.
Yeah. And then he signed that deal in the offseason with the Mets, and they promptly traded him right back to Houston at the deadline.
Yeah, you look at the Mets. Go stay with baseball. You think that team's ever actually going to make it and actually get this thing right? Because I mean,
because Steve Cohen, bless his heart, he's trying.
Yeah, he's trying. All right,
he's trying. He's trying to buy a World Series.
Yeah, the New York Yankees, he is not.
But the thing is like he has. When you look at the team in the field, the New York Mets, right? You have Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Starling Marte.
Yeah.
And it basically begins and ends there.
Mm-hmm.
And then pitching, like they're not gonna find a second coming of DeGrom. Okay, it's just not happening.
No.
And
I mean, DeGrom might not even come back. I mean, hopefully he does, but he might.
He'll come back. He'll come back. his first Tommy John was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Pardon me. It's DeGrom. I have no doubt he's going to be back. And I don't know. There's like a wave of Tommy John guys right now.
Well,
I mean, Shohei needs one.
Well, I think it's that everybody wants to be showing that 3 digits, right? And that could be part of it too. It could be part of a lot of things.
Like, here's the crazy part. Shohei just had Tommy John his rookie year.
Yeah.
The only reason he didn't pitch is because he was recovering from Tommy John.
Yeah.
And now he needs it again.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's still gonna be the most valuable pitch player out there next year.
Oh, listen, he is going to sign a contract for $500 million, and I would almost bet my house on.
No, I don't think anybody's going to take you on that bet because everybody knows it's going to happen. Really quickly though, kind of sad news, but not really sad news. Very celebrated though too. Dusty Baker announced he's retiring. Really quickly, really quick thoughts, and who do you think takes over that position in Houston? Because that's like a gold mine, right?
I think they hire from the outside.
From inside?
I think they hire from the outside.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who the leading candidate is right now. I gotta like look at who's been fired or whose contract is up.
Yeah.
But I mean, whoever it is inheriting a still kind of functioning dynasty.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they've only won 2 championships, okay, but they've made 8 LCSs in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care who you are. In the game of baseball, it is so hard to accomplish something like that.
Yeah.
They've been to the World Series like 4 of those 8.
Yeah.
That includes this year, right? Yeah. But they've been to the LCS 8 years in a row, been to 4 World Series, won 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you still have a functioning dynasty there.
Yeah.
So I think they just have to try to. I don't think they need to touch the roster much.
Mm-hmm.
I think that whoever they pick as manager just needs to be able to coach these guys just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Because as Houston's shown over the last, 8 years, all they have to do is make the dance.
Yeah, that team can just make the playoffs. They're going to be dangerous.
Right, exactly. All they have to do is make the dance, and that team is built for the playoffs.
They've stated before. A lot of experts have said too that team is built as a playoff team, no matter what. As long as they make it, that team could cause damage. I mean, I think a lot of people were probably taking Houston by a repeat of last year's World Series this year, and it didn't what happened. And so really quickly on this one though too, just really quickly with baseball on this one, possibly maybe review the format in baseball because of what was said with Rangers being in not having the Yankees and Dodgers.
When you sent me that article, I didn't even have to read it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the goal is to generate as much revenue as possible. Okay? So when you have 2 kind of like smaller market teams like the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, okay?
Yeah,
the last World Series I can think of where you kind of have that case is KC and the Mets.
Yeah.
Right? Which
New York.
Right.
It's not the Yankees.
And that should be the Mets slogan, okay?
Yeah, we're not the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like in '86, but they finally won one. Anyway, that is us. That is us for the day, folks. Doug, tell everybody where we can find it.
All right. So, you can find us pretty much everywhere except for iTunes right now, and on YouTube, can search DA Sports Podcast, Google Podcasts, early next year is moving everything to YouTube. So you'll be able to find us over there. Just search DA Sports Podcast. There's a playlist there. Andrew's doing the best he can with editing the video form.
It's getting better, folks. It really is.
And it's all a work in progress, right? Socials, you can follow the show DA Sports Podcast on Instagram. On X, easy for me to say. Yeah. On X,
DA Sports
at DA Sports Pod. You can find me DLines1991 on X. Find Andrew A. Purcell 1982 on Instagram. Our next show will be uploaded later this week. It'll be our weekly wrestling review. We'll talk Crown Jewel preview, and we'll talk about what's going on Dynamite, Raw, and just again getting set up for Crown Jewel this weekend.
It's a big one.
Absolutely. It looks like a really good card.
Yeah, it does actually. John Cena's going to be there, so it'll be good.
And by the time you're listening to this, it's already up. Our new monthly series has started, Music and Sports Video Games. It's a little different from us, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Until next time, I'm Doug. That's Andrew. We'll catch you down the road.
See you guys.